Hey guys, I just finished the fourth book in the Malazan Book of the Fallen series, House of Chains. This is a very different story from the previous three. Um, the first three books are mostly focused on Malazan military campaigns, and they're told from a lot of different points of views and perspectives. And the House of Chains has a few different perspectives as well, but it's mostly the story of one main character, Karsa Orlong. And even the structure is pretty different. The first half of the book is one continuous narrative set before the events of the previous three books. And it tells how Karsa leaves his home tribe and makes his way into the wider world. The second half of House of Chains is a direct sequel to the events of Deadhouse Gates. So to recap, Deadhouse Gates happens in the Seven Cities region, and this area has been occupied by the Malazan Empire, and they're not happy about it. So, as prophesized, there is a rebellion led by a prophet of the whirlwind goddess Drijna. So the second half of the House of Chains is about how Karsa is drawn into this broader conflict. So who is Karsa Orlong? He is a Teblor, which is to say he is a giant who lives in the mountains. And to put it bluntly, the Teblor are pretty horrible people. They worship these gods, these seven faces carved in stone, and they're bloodthirsty gods, always demanding more blood. And the tribes of Teblor are constantly plotting vengeance in their tribal feuds, and they're killing each other, and generally it's pretty unpleasant. And so there's two real factors that are driving Karsa as a person. The first is that he is very devout to his gods, and he's constantly vowing to spill more blood in their name. The second is that he is very inspired by the stories of his grandfather, Palk Orlong. So when Palk was younger, a couple of hundred years ago, because these Teblor live a long time, Palk journeyed down from the mountains that they live in and found some farms run by children, that is to say, humans. And so what Palk did was he killed all the children and took a bunch of trophies and returned home in glory. So Karsa sets out with his two best buddies, Bayrothgild and Delim Thord, to reenact this glory and kill as many children as they can. The thing is, when they journey down from the plateau in the mountains that they live on to Silver Lake, where the farms that his grandfather raided were, they don't find a farm anymore. They find a whole city. But Karsa is not intimidated, and he figures, well, more children, more blood, more glory. And so he bursts through the city gates along with his companions and starts killing indiscriminately. Unfortunately, the city guard and a small occupying Malazan force are more than enough to subdue Karsa Orlong and kill his companions. Karsa Orlong is then put in chains and sent across the continent, shipped across the ocean to the Seven Cities to serve as a slave in the Odoterral mines. And the whole way there, he is cursing the Malazans, vowing to kill all of them and spill their blood in the name of his gods. So that's a bit of who Karsa is. By the time Karsa makes it to the Seven Cities, the events of Deadhouse Gates are starting to happen, and the rebellion is basically starting. So, unfortunately for the Malazans, but fortunately for him, he is broken free, and the rebels, recognizing that he is huge and also very good with weapons, offer him a position as a champion of Shaikh, the prophet who leads the rebellion. So this is where we skip past the events of Deadhouse Gates and find ourselves in Raraku, the de facto capital of the rebellion. And so here Karsa is just he doesn't actually do much as a champion. He's just tall, big, and intimidating. And he is witnessing how the rebellion is organizing itself. And it's not actually totally a religiously motivated rebellion. There's a big contingent of that, but there's a lot of factions within it that are seeking to use the rebellion as a stepping stone to their own ambitions. And so Karsa sees this, and he sort of reflects on his own devoutness. And eventually he journeys to face his own gods in person, actually. So a very interesting storyline overall. Very unique type of character development in sort of what you can call an anti-hero. And it's tied into the broader picture of the other stories. It's a direct sequel to the Deadhouse Gates. We get to see how Genoa's Perrin, one of the main characters in Gardens of the Moon, had two sisters. One of them, Felisin, was sent also to the Odoterral mines in a political purge. The second sister of Perrin, Tavore, actually became the adjunct of the Empress, the right hand of the Malazan Empire, and is sent with an army to Erin to crush the rebellion. So there's all of these sort of stories that were set up in the previous three books that are the backdrop of Karsa's own story. It's very interesting, and I highly recommend it. Thanks for listening. See you guys next time.